Okay, let's start. Other people will join later. We have a recording, so we will provide the recording of this session later for all our subscribers. Let's me introduce myself and my colleagues. My name is Lev. I'm responsible for marketing, and my colleague Maria, she's responsible for public relations. And together with her, we're going to deliver you the information about the recent release of TrueConf Server 5.4. This is our flagship product. My colleague Ivan will assist us with some demos. So this demonstration will approximately take 1 hour. I think it is the right time to start. So let's go. Let's cover some updates. First of all, I'd like to tell you that upgrade to the version 5.4 of TrueConf Server is only possible for customers who have active support plan, because the eligibility for upgrade is connected to the fact that you need a paid support plan, any kind of support plan we offer. So if you have a support plan, or if you have a 1-year license, that means that you're eligible for the free upgrade. If you are lifetime owner, you need to purchase a support plan if you don't have one to upgrade for this new license. If you are a user of the free version of TrueConf Server, you are also eligible for upgrade. That means that if you try to install this new version, not on the free version, previous installation of TrueConf Server, but on the paid installation of TrueConf Server, the service will not start. So you have to get in touch with us in advance to make sure that we will check that your particular license is eligible for upgrade. We will verify this, and after that, you can do this in advance, 1 week before, a couple of days before. It's up to you. So once you check this with your personal manager or through with the ticket to our support with our support team, you will be able to smoothly upgrade. We also recommend you to do upgrade during non-working hours, on the weekends or during the night, because this upgrade is based on the new version of our database architecture, and the transition from the previous database architecture for chat messenger, for messages, for chat, requires some time. So for large installations, it could take even more than 10 or 15 minutes. So we expect that for 1,000 active users, it could be up to half an hour. If you have less than 1,000 active users, 500, for example, it could take up to half an hour, because we're migrating from old architecture of our database to the new architecture. It takes some time. So don't do this during working hours, because this upgrade is a little bit heavy and it takes some time. The downgrade is possible. However, because we changed in this release the architecture of the database, the new messages which are going to be sent by your users inside the new version will not be available in the previous version if you downgrade. So please make sure that you have a backup and you are doing the upgrade process according to our recommendation. We have a dedicated guide in our knowledge base about how to correctly perform the upgrade. So please refer to that guide during the upgrade, and you will know, in this case, you will never need to downgrade. But in any case, it is possible to do, but some messages from the new version will not be visible. We also include into this new TrueConf Server 5.4 update the new version of our client application. The release version will be TrueConf for Windows 8.4.1. The previous released version was 8.4.0, so we implemented the client application which comes along the server. And also, the same application will be shortly available for all other platforms, for macOS and Linuxes, many different distros of Linux. It will take a couple of weeks. However, the server itself is already available for Windows and for many different versions of Linux, most importantly for Debian. So if you are running virtualized or standalone infrastructure for TrueConf Server, Windows-based or Debian-based, you are free to upgrade. We have uploaded this new version to our repository and to our website, so you can go ahead and download it. Okay, so let's let's move forward to the new features.
Yeah, thank you, Lev, for this very important information. And we are going to cover some our major updates featured in TrueConf Server 5.4. And the first one is conferences with simultaneous interpretation. So to say, it is not AI-based one. Now our customers have new video conferencing mode that allows them to invite real professional interpreters into their international events or meetings with multi-language participants. And these interpreters are not displayed in the layout, but your participants will hear them when they choose the distinguished audio track during the conference. So the interpreters can be assigned while planning, by scheduling your video meeting, and you can choose distinguish language pair for each interpreter, and they can switch accordingly during the meeting because the profession of interpreter is very difficult, and they need to switch every 15 minutes, I guess. And they will have special interface where they can mute their micro or switch the language on the fly, for example.
I'd like to add here that we followed the recommendations from professional interpreters, and they told us exactly how they usually handling such conferences, and it was obligatory for them to create interface which is very similar to the systems usually they're using. Usually they use systems created by Bosch, and we tried to implement the same mechanics inside our own interface. For example, we don't have a mute button for interpreters, which performs like a mute button. Actually, they can substitute for a specific language pair each other. So it is kind of a podium. If, for example, we have a one language pair and multiple interpreters assigned to the same language pair, only one interpreter at a time can use this channel, and he can switch to other interpreter when he release this channel, and another interpreter will pick it up. In the in between, when no interpreters providing a translation for specific language pair, the original audio is being delivered to the conference. And any moment, interpreter can switch the direction they're working on, and there are no limits on the interpreters. It could be any directions from source language for destination language, any such vectors, any number of such language pairs. And for every language pair, for every vector of translation, we can assign multiple interpreters. So it really helps not to use specifically equipped conferencing rooms, but to use software, for example, our application, to connect from their homes, from on the go, and the interpreters, to provide the better experience for important meetings, the government meetings, where simultaneous interpretation is usually required. Maria, sorry for interrupting you. Please go on.
Yeah, and we have a question here. So, do we have to register interpreters, or they can be invited as guest connections to the meeting?
Thank you, Gamli. Thank you for this question. Unfortunately, it is not possible to assign a guest with the interpreter role. It should be a registered user of your server. You have to provide an account for every interpreter in advance. You have to select those users during conference scheduling process. So you have to specifically assign a specific user for interpretation role, and they will be actually displayed in a separate list in the participant list of the conference as interpreters. So this cannot be done for guests, because such important meetings which require simultaneous interpretation, they usually scheduled months ahead. They are tested and they prepared in advance, so we do not allow for guests to be interpreters, and it is not possible because we have to specifically assign a language pair for every interpreter, and we do not offer ways to assign a language pair on the go. It have to be done in advance. And Maria, please go on with
so it is not possible to add interpreter in real time. So on the fly, you cannot add the specific participant to your running video meeting. By the way, you speaking about users, ordinary users who just listen to the event, they can change the source language on the fly. So it is possible to listen to several audio channels, changing them accordingly. And moderators also can set some additional settings for the conference participant. They can moderate the audio channel and so on.
You can see that users are able to change the audio tracks on the go inside the client application. It is also possible to assign SIP equipment, for example, Polycom, Cisco, H323 or SIP-enabled devices for a specific language pair. So we have additional setting in the advanced meeting management window where we can assign a SIP endpoint or any other user with a specific language. So it is not limited to our client application. So we can also deliver interpretation using this interface for legacy equipment as well. Okay, thank you, Maria. So let's move forward to another feature. By the way, we have a demo. I forgot about it. Ivan, can you please assist us? Do you have a, please, if you are able, show us some demo for simultaneous interpretation.
Yes, I can. Hi to all.
Hi. So Ivan is currently scheduling using our scheduler the new conference. Here we have to enable before we create the conference, we have to enable this checkbox, which enables simultaneous interpretation mode. It cannot be edited later, so you have to be sure that the conference will be interpreted before you create it. And all other settings are similar, except for the new tab interpretation, where we let's populate the conference with some users. And when we added users, we can select from invited users the interpreters and assign the interpretation roles and language pairs for users added to this conference, registered users added to this conference. There could be many language pairs, many roles. Please also pay attention that it is possible to, even during interpretation going on, it is possible to play back the original audio. We have a level for original audio on the top of this page. For the listeners of the real-time interpretation, it is also a requirement by our customers because they want to be sure that the original audio is presented in a small way because it really helps to understand which part of the sentence is being translated at the moment. So once the conference is created and once we assign the roles for interpreters, we can join this meeting. And you can see in the right bottom corner of the video window, now we have the special bar, special menu for the available languages for interpretation. If we don't have at the moment the working on the active interpreter for this language pair, the system automatically plays original audio. So it delivers during no interpretation. If we don't have any interpreters at the moment who took up the podium for a specific language pair, we deliver the original audio of the conference for this track, for this language track. So users, they don't need to change the tracks every time the interpreters change each other or when there is no interpretation available. So we'll automatically fill the gaps with original audio. Thank you, Ivan. Thank you for this demonstration. So let's forward. Let's go forward. The next feature is about the multi-channel recording. That means, Maria, please go on.
That means that when you record your international video meetings and afterwards you would like to view it, it is possible to receive all audio channels that were recorded during the conference. So it is possible to view in a video player and to listen to any language that were presented during the meeting.
I'd like to add that we added the new type of the container for video recordings. So in addition to MKV, and which is also called Matryoshka, and MP4, which is very usable for streaming, for example, you can start to play back the recording from the server even before the conference is over. We added a new container, which is called WebM. So now you can select from 3 different types of containers, and all of them are supporting the multi-channel audio. So in the recorded file, you can switch like between when you play back the movie, for example, you can switch between subtitles and different languages. The same is applied for the video conference recording, which was assisted by interpreters. And also, please pay attention that MKV is not I'm sorry, MP4 can be used to play back the recording in real time. So for example, if you go to the control panel of TrueConf Server, if you are an administrator, you can open the recording and you can play back the MP4 video recording right away, even before conferences is over, before it ended. Maria, thank you for this wonderful feature. Let's move forward for another one, which is called the new parametric layouts. We are trying to narrow the gap between traditional video conferencing systems, which are called MCUs, multi-point control units, which were designed for legacy conferencing room equipment using legacy protocols. And the new generation of video conferencing software like our server, where we do not mix video streams on the server, where we deliver multiple streams for every participant on multiple devices in the same time. And this new feature allows us to bring the same flexibility of parametric layouts to a new generation of video conferencing scalable architecture using multi-channel conferences where we deliver many different streams for every participants. So basically, we recreate the old behavior of manually assisted layouts on the new TrueConf client applications, also on SIP devices and browsers as well, and recording as well. But the idea is that it is now possible to assign very interesting rules for every slot, for every rectangular in the layout. So before that, we had only 2 types of slots for the layout: the fixed participant and empty participant, which could be useful to show the transparent rectangular to show the background beneath the layout. So now we added 3 new types to this mode, which allow us to randomly display in the layout any user presented in the list of participants of the conference, because during such conferences which require the layout, a specific layout, usually they're important meetings, and usually always they're assisted by operator. So usually operator manually select who is visible, who is not visible, according to the plan, according to some agenda for the meeting. Now we have this minister, after that we have another guy who's reporting to him, whatever. So usually those meetings are quite important, like old MCU meetings. And so we have more people with enabled cameras than we have slots in the layout. And this new type of slot, random participant, will randomly display any user who has camera enabled, even if all of them video enabled users are not capable to be displayed in the same time in the layout, so we can randomly display some slots. And more importantly, we can shuffle or we can change automatically people who is not speaking, who is not very active, but they have their cameras enabled, so we can change in the layout those random participants according to specific rules to make sure that time to time all users in the conference with camera enabled will be visible to other conference participants, even if they are not active participants, even if they don't enable their microphones. And we're doing this without mixing. We're doing this by recreating the layout on the client application. So we still deliver many different streams. So we leverage the load from the server to the endpoint. So we do not create additional load on the server. So infrastructure is has very good performance. The performance is not affected by this. However, it looks like like old days assisted MCU meetings. And the latest and most important type of the slot for the layout is called active speaker. There could be many active speakers inside the conference, inside the layout, I'm sorry. And active speaker is basically displays the participant who is speaking right now. And if we have more slots for active speaker, other slots displays the previous speaker and previous to the previous speaker and previous to the previous to the previous speaker and etc. So we can see the list of active speakers, but usually customers are selecting just the one active speaker and the content slot, and some others are just shuffling. So that's how it usually happens. This is how the layout editor looks like. So we can open the editor for layouts during conference creation or on the go using advanced management tools for the conference. We can assign the new type of layout for every user, for a specific user, for specific equipment. It could be SIP and point, for example, for all transcoded destinations. Transcoding is usually done for recording, streaming, and WebRTC and browser users. So we can create a specific layout for different categories and groups of participants of a conference. There are some limitations connected with the different types of conferences we have, because we have the distant learning sessions, we have role-based conferences, we have smart meetings. So we tried with this release to remove all the limitations. The only limit so far we have is that such manual layouts are not possible. It is not possible to apply them for distant learning, for video lecture, because it is very specific conference mode for students and the lecturer. But for all other conferences, like all on screen, role-based conference and smart meetings, the layouts, manual layouts could be applied. And please pay attention to the fact that manual layouts do not change the number of slots. So you have to create a specific layout for specific number of slots with different rules inside. But if another participant joins the conference, it doesn't mean that the new slot will be created. The number of slots is fixed, but the rules inside those slots can be changed. And slots perform according to the rules assigned to them. Before that, all slots were fixed. Now we can automatically change people inside the slots according to their voice activity, camera activity, and shuffling settings, which can be changed on the go. So if you need a totally automatic layouts, which grew up in size, grew up in number of slots in real time, just don't enable manual layouts. Just leave it as it is, and the client application will automatically change everything. The active speakers will be large, content will be even larger, all people will be visible if they have camera enabled according to the size of the smart meeting layout you have selected during conference creation. So all automatic mode is still there. We recommend to use all automatic mode, but in case you have an important meeting which should use manual layouts with different rules inside, then you can enable this. And this feature is very powerful, but with the power comes great responsibility. So be very careful with it, like in all days MCUs. So I think we have a demo for that. Ivan, can you show us how it looks like in real life?
Hello. Now I can't show this feature because our server for demonstration is not working right now. Sorry.
I will show this on the screenshot. We have an additional screenshot for that. For example, this is the window which defines how the shuffling process will go inside the layout. For example, we can change the period of seconds. The new participant, which is not visible in the layout, should substitute the previous participant inside the layout. We can also change the way how participants change each other. For example, it could be a basic replacement when new participant just replace the old participant, or it could be a kind of a queue, the stack, which is like first in, last out process when we move people across the available shuffling slots. So make sure that the new visible participant is placed in the first slot, and the previously visible participant moved to neighbor slot, and he is still visible, but only the oldest visible participant will leave the layout in this case. So there are different strategies for how to fill up the layout for random slots, how rules could be applied for this shuffling process. So it is possible to select different strategies. So many settings available. We will continue to improve this. Next version will include the special layout when we have a content enabled. The content could be from different sources. It could be video file, the desktop application, slide deck created from PDF file, PowerPoint file, OpenOffice file, whatever. And right now, if you expect for content to be presented in the conference, you have to specifically assign one slot for the content. But in the next release, 5.5, there will be two different layouts with the content enabled and content not enabled during the conference. So it will even closer, will close this gap between MCUs and our server. Okay. Maria, please go on. Let's cover some new features for the messenger built into our server. But before you dive into those new features, I'd like to add that we started with the new architecture of the database for TrueConf Server, and I'd like to tell you what results we achieved with this new architecture. And the performance improved significantly. We have measured 5x, 5 times performance increased in terms of how many messages could be processed in a second by server, and how many notifications and synchronization requests and some other special requests can be processed by client applications. And that means that now you can scroll your chats, list of chat, or you can scroll the list of messages inside your chat infinitely, and you will not be able to reach the end because the synchronization is so fast right now, so it is impossible to reach it. So the database performance is significantly increased. Our protocol performance, our server, which sends out information to the chat, also increased significantly. And you don't see this actually, or a lot of things happened under the hood. But now we can guarantee you that our typical server recommendation is more than enough to provide all-way chat communication for up to 500 active users, which is a huge number. So just imagine like a regular 8-core CPU server, like a 1-unit server, for example, is enough to provide all ways of video communication and chat communication for the entire team of 500 people. This is a huge improvement. But additionally to that, we continue to improve the chat features. So Maria, please go on.
Yeah, we are working on developing our messenger and on adding new features that are very helpful for all our users. And the first feature I would like to cover is a typing status. So right now in group and personal chat, you can view the specific status of any user who is typing his or her message. Yeah, and we have a demo. I guess we skip it. Yeah, and the next.
I don't know, Ivan, do we have a demo for that?
Yes. We can show.
Let's go for them then.
Okay. Now you see the chat in conference in our test server. And here we can type
Actually,
in.
Ivan, I will interrupt you. So we moved a little bit forward. So Ivan is showing us that we improved the chat for the guests connected using the browser, not through our application. This is our browser application, so it's a kind of backup connection option, because we still recommend for guest users to use our client applications where most of the features are available. Even if you don't want to install our client application, if you're a guest user, we improve the chat. So you can see that inside that web-based chat for guests, we have a capability for chat editing. Ivan, now you can, for example, forward this message, delete this message.
Yes, forward.
You can select multiple messages.
Of course, you can forward only to the current participants of the conference.
Yeah,
Guests don't have access to the regular users, but you can resend some inside the conference. Later, it will be possible to use this feature to resend chat messages across different sessions inside a single conference. It's the breakout rooms support. This was done for breakout rooms, which is not released yet. You can also see that it is now possible to upload files for guests. Well, not for regular users, it was available, but guests can also upload chat. And we have additional security settings which prohibit guest users to upload messages and receive messages, for example, from your local users. It is also quite important not to allow guest users to download files when they're invited to your TrueConf server instance conferences, for example. So very similar to the client application. So this chat for web-based guests is improved, but we have more features which is totally dedicated for the client application, where most of the features resides. So Ivan, thank you for this demo. Let's go back to the slides. Maria, please go on.
Yeah. We also brought information about reading the message. So now you can view the list of people who viewed your message in a group chat. So it's very helpful for some management management person in our corporate environment.
Yeah, it is important because sometimes customers ask us for verification that a specific user missed a meeting or disconnected from the meeting before it was ended, or for example, read a specific message. So now we added this feature for the messages, so you can verify in group chats which messages has been seen, which are not, to make sure that the employee specifically looking for indeed read your message or didn't read your message. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and the next feature is the special folder with saved messages. It is called favorites. So you can create such a folder in your messenger, in a group, in the list of all your chats. And now you can save desired messages into a special dedicated place. So you don't need to search in your group chat, in your personal chat for the desired information to find some files, documents, presentations, and so on. So you can save all the information in one place and quickly reach it.
And the same folder is available on the mobiles and desktops everywhere. And we also created a special icon. It is like a bookmark icon on top of your chat list. So you can click there to quickly access the favorites chat. We still don't have some other important chat features like folders for chats. It is still not possible to pin the chat to the top, for example, or pin some messages inside the chat. It is not possible to give a reaction for specific message of the chat. That's why, because in that release, we mostly focused on the performance, but other features are already specified and they are under development. They will be delivered in the next release. Please understood that we're not using open source for that. We are not basically withdrawing, white labeling some other solution for chat. So we started that process not very long time ago with the release of 5.0 of our server. So we're building our own corporate chat platform based on our protocol, based on our server, based on our database architecture, based on our client application, because we have to be sure that we totally control the technology. We have to be sure that we offer you the best-in-class performance for corporate chat. So some features will follow later. They are not immediately available like in some other open source solutions. But believe me, if you invest into a TrueConf server right now and in a few next releases, the quality and the feature set of chat will significantly improve. For us, it is a very strategic area, and we will continue to focus on asynchronous communication, not just video conferences. So more features will come, and they will be hell as a fast. So we're very focused on performance.
Yeah, and of course, draft synchronization. So if you are using our client application synchronized on different devices, for example, your smartphone, your PC, maybe your two smartphones, and so on, it is now possible to synchronize and to continue typing your message using different devices. So, for example, when you started answering your colleague and something disturbed you from this process, you can afterwards continue it on your PC.
So does it mean that I can start to write a long message on my smartphone during my lunch break and I can finish that message on my desktop later?
Yeah.
That's cool. So that means that I can use these draft messages to, for example, to create many draft messages for not finished conversations, which are important for me to make sure they are not lost in the list of chats.
Yeah, it is possible to even to use multiple chats to create such drafts of your messages that can be sent later.
That's important because today we see that we use less and less email communication and more chat communication. And it is very important to make sure that no information is forgotten, no information is left unattended. So we have to put some draft inside the chat to collect the answers before we submit them to our to other person we speak with or group of people. Okay, Maria, please go on.
We have covered new chat features in browser thanks to the demonstration provided by Ivan. So I think you can skip this slide.
Okay, I'd like to add that we also changed the page, which is welcome page for the new guest users who are connecting to your meetings using the link to joins link. link. Okay, so when you connect from the browser to the meeting, we now have the new page to check your equipment. So when you connected to this conference, you probably went through this new page. So we allow you to see your camera, to check your audio, to select the speakers and the microphone, and check your name on a dedicated page before you proceed to the actual conference. So when you click join to the conference through the browser, you are not immediately joined to the conference. We verify that your equipment is properly selected. The browser gave you the proper permissions to use your camera, to use your microphone, and only after that you are connected to the meeting. So this will increase the chances that people who are connected through the browser have camera enabled, proper microphone selected, so it will significantly decrease the problems for browser-based meetings, because in browsers there are many situations where browser is not allow you to use your equipment, and many people don't understood that it is actually a browser who's in charge of the conference, not us. So that will help definitely.
Yeah, it is very important to choose the correct video source and audio source before you join the meeting.
Okay, Maria.
Yeah, and right now it is possible to send and view images in the chat when you connect to the conference using using your web browser. So it is possible now to send all the files, all the images for guest users, not for authorized participants, but also for guest connections.
But be careful, because during large public conferences, guests could upload some not very safe content, for example, for a conference. So this is a potential source for Zoom bombing, but it is not a case for us because you can prohibit guests to send audio, video, or files inside the conference. So we have special tools to limit this behavior. Okay, another feature is about the conference extension. Usually, by default, when we create a new conference, not on the go, not ad hoc conference, but scheduled conferences, we set the duration for 8 hours to make sure that you will fit inside 8 hours for sure. But now we added the new feature for extension of the conference, so you can create shorter conferences, let's say 1 hour, and it will not end on time. It will not end unexpectedly for you. We will demonstrate to you the special notification. You can select the time before that notification will appear, that very soon the conference will be over, and we will provide you an icon, the button which will allow you to extend this conference. So you need to click extend, and the conference will extend for another specific period of time, like you're snoozing the the timer, and if you not extend the conference next time, it will be over. So it will not create the unattended meetings which consume server resources, for example, for recording. It will help you to end conferences on time if you don't have any real people inside, if they do not confirm that they want to extend the meeting. So it doesn't create any new potential risks. We will we will end the conference anyway, unless someone will continue to extend.
So someone can extend the conference forever?
Yeah, but you can select for what period of time the conference could be extended, and the fact that it could be extended can also be disabled. So when you create a conference, you can disable this, and the conference will not be extended if you do not allow the users to extend it. But we recommend to use to enable it by default. It is enabled by default because more often we see that conferences ended unexpectedly, and that creates some negative feedback from users because they forgot that they installed a time limit on the conference.
And which users can extend the conference? Only moderators and owners?
This is a good question. Only moderators can extend the conference, but the owner of the conference also have moderator privileges. So owner as well can extend the conference. And operators. Operators is a specific users on your server which receive the moderator privileges when they join the conference. So host, the owner, the moderators, and the operators of the server, they can extend the conference, not the regular user. So if no moderators in the conference, it will be over, and regular users will not be able to extend it. Another improvement connected with security is the ability to disable audio remarks for guest users. Before that, for example, for such conference we're having right now, before the current release, and by the way, we're running on the latest version of TrueConf Server 5.4 right now, so we're using the 5.4 version, which was released yesterday. So we're already using this in the production mode. We just had a huge webinar for more than 200 participants, and it worked flawlessly. And it was possible before that any guest user could send in a role-based conference, and the webinars are always role-based conference because we need to separate speakers from listeners. So it was possible for listeners to send audio to the master audio channel to make sure that everybody hear them, and it was a potential source of problems. So now it is possible to disable audio remarks for guests. They're not presenting, they are not speakers, they are not presented on the podium. However, their audio remarks could be heard by others. So now we can disable that.
So they won't have a special button in the interface when you disable audio remarks?
Exactly. Before that, guests could have the audio remark button in the left bottom corner in the web browser application. So now it is not available for them anymore.
And what about reactions?
I think, I don't know. Do you know the answer?
No.
Reactions should be available. Reactions is like when you raise your hand or you give a positive or negative feedback using special emojis. So I think reactions is still there for guests and they're available for them. And very soon, in the next version of the client application, it will be possible to disable audio remarks on the go, not before you create a conference, but once you faced the problems during the meeting. Jasper, you just asked the question about how many times the conference could be extended. Any number of times. So if you are a moderator, you can extend your conference any number of times. But if you need to extend conference for so long, why don't you use the virtual rooms? So it's better to use a virtual room with dedicated conference ID for a long time. If you have meetings which you don't know how long it will take. So if you're very sure that your conference will fit in 1 hour slot, so okay, you can use a regular conference with a specific time and date. But if you're not sure when it will happen and you don't want to change the link, so you can create the virtual room. Maria, please.
Yeah, speaking about disabling some features available to users during the conference, we also added the ability to end content sharing when imagine the situation when some of your participants start in sharing the content and you want to disable it, you want to end the conference sharing. So now it is possible not only to disable audio remarks, but also to finish the content sharing process.
This is amazing because many people actually forgot that just recently they were displaying their desktop, and immediately after the presentation, they switched back to the personal messenger application or corporate email application. And this is something we sure don't want to show to other participants, especially if it is a public conference, which is available not just for the employees of the organization of the customer. So this is a very, very secure feature.
Yeah, your private information may cause some problems during the content sharing when you share your desktop at all. So we offer and we recommend you to share your presentation, to share only slides or separate application, not all your desktop.
Yeah, but if you forgot and you completely forgot about the fact that you are sharing something, the moderator will end their content sharing for you. Don't worry, because moderators just need to right-click on your content, right on your content, and disable it. Just a single click, very easy to do. Okay, thank you, Maria. The next feature is about branding. So it is applied, this branding options is applied for recordings, streaming, and WebRTC users and SIP users and H323 users. So all those cases are receiving the mixed video. That means when we need to record the conference, we have to mix all the independent videos in a single video file. So the same is applied when we do the streaming, let's say for YouTube or Instagram. And the same is applied when we deliver the video conference like you are seeing right now to the browser. So in those cases, we mix videos in a single video. And for this mixing process, now we can offer two branding options. The first one is the background, which is always displayed is the layer number 0, the bottom layer of the layout. And the second option is the watermark logo, which is displayed on the most top level of the layout. So the conference actually is always in between, like in a sandwich between the background and the logo. So you can define what images could be displayed there. It could be images with transparency, like PNG file format, with the alpha transparency available there. So it could be semi-visible logo of your company, or it could be a custom background of a specific meeting with some branding information about available sponsors or some specific topics, whatever you select. Play around. This setting is a global one, so it is applied for all sources I mentioned to you. Let me repeat them: the recording of every conference, streaming of every conference, the mixed video of every conference delivered through browser application, and delivered to SIP and H323 endpoints. If we talk about regular client applications, such branding options is already available. They were available before. So if you go to the setting of our desktop application, so you can change the background for a long time. And there is no point to show the logo inside the client application, because client application is mostly used by your local users, by your employees, and they definitely know where they're working at. So they don't need to see the logo. But for outside audience, for browser connections, for recording, streaming, it could be useful. Another request is from informational security teams from large enterprises. For example, in some cases, and this is true, some organization, they prohibit to use smartphones. It is not possible to use your home smartphone, your personal smartphone, not to use. It is some organizations that prohibit to use Apple devices. It happens. So now we added the ability to prohibit, to disable the ability of specific operating systems client applications of TrueConf to connect to your server. So you can disable, let's say you can disable iOS enabled devices from your server, and they will never able to authenticate, they will never able to join any meeting, because even guests, they need to authenticate using specific guest token. So guests will not be able to join from operating systems you disable. In some organizations, Androids are not available, for example. So we can manage this process using this section where we define which versions of client applications are capable to join your server, so you can manage this process. For example, with this update, we will ship the new version of our client application 8.4.1. So once you update to the new version of the server, your client applications, your employees will receive the notification that we recommend you to update to the new client application. So you can disable that. You can change the recommended version of the client application to the previous number of the version. Let's say change it from 8.4.1 to 8.3. So your users will not be requested. No recommendation for them will appear that they need to update the client application. So this is the same settings which apply for minimal version and recommended version can be used to prohibit specific operating systems to join your server. And we see more and more requests like that. So especially in critical infrastructure customers like energy plants, some government facilities, they just don't allow to use smartphones because they're not secure. Because smartphones are always connected through Google Cloud or Huawei Cloud or Apple Cloud to receive push notifications. And many customers consider this is not safe. So they ask us to deliver this feature. Another important feature is about the quality. Maria, please go on.
Yeah, we extended the quality of our group video conferences, and now it is rated by default to 30 FPS. It was a long time ago when we had not so great quality for group video meetings, but right now it is possible to host your video meetings in a very great quality.
Yeah, so if you need to improve the quality even higher, so we fully support 1080p per 30 frames per second for every speaking head in the layout. So this is the limit. 1080p not for the whole conference, but every video in the layout. So you can easily achieve 4K. Just send us a message inside our community in WhatsApp or send us a ticket to our technical support team, and we will give you the settings which can significantly improve this even higher. But even now, with 30 frames enabled by default, it will dramatically increase the quality of your conferences. Before, our server by default distributed 15 frames per second. Now the default is 30 frames per second. We improved the performance of the server because when we are dealing with TrueConf conferences, we need to send a lot of different streams for every participant, and with doubled size of the frames sent by server, it could lead to worse performance of the server. So more frames, more images should be video frames should be distributed from the server. But in this release, we significantly improved the server performance once again for higher frame rate. So it will not affect at all the performance of your server. So the quality will be higher. The only bandwidth will be used more, of course, but the CPU usage and RAM usage on your server won't change a lot. Okay, so we have some other important things to tell you about. Let me, I'll tell you in a moment what is also available. So we have a better solution for transcription. It's called AI Server. It is available only through our cloud at the moment, but I believe by end of the summer it will be available as the ready-to-use application for our customers. So AI-based meeting transcription is just the first feature of this AI server. We're already having for this solution the summarization feature available. So you can see the transcription of every user separately. So we're not using mixing audio in our server. We're seeing and we can process separately every audio channel, every audio stream from every different participant separately, and later we combine them together in a. It looks like chat, like a roles, but that means that people can speak simultaneously, and their speeches will be independently recognized by TrueConf AI server and displayed to user transcription. In addition to that, we can show you the summary of the conference as well. Please ask your manager or get in touch with us, so we will provide you access for the beta version of this application. It is free to use for every conference at the moment, but we are not able to give you the distro, the system you can install inside your network at the moment. It will be available later, but such solution will appear shortly, and we will add more and more features like real-time translation, like intellectual search, where you will be able to search not for specific terms but for similar terms. inside your recognized transcriptions of conferences, inside your chat messages. So a lot of things will follow. We're also changing the licensing model for academic customers. So the new academic licenses will be available in July, and they will be more affordable because we fully understood that when we speak about academic customers like institutes, universities, schools, they very often they use open source solutions like Big Blue Button, for example, or Jitsi Meet. So we decided it is very difficult for them to install and to maintain such systems because open source is difficult. It has a lot of downsides. You need a high qualification. You have to worry about different security issues with open source. But with our server, no such issues. So it's very easy to install, very easy to maintain. It's absolutely secure. So we decided to prepare specific academic licenses which are very affordable, but it is not possible to use academic licenses for internal usage. It is not possible to use academic licenses for, let's say, unified communications when you create the communication infrastructure for your internal employees. But if you have a lot of guests, if you provide educational sessions, this kind of license will offer you a very good option. That's it. I think we have covered all the most important features of this release. So let me ask if you have any questions. Feel free to ask them in chat. If you don't have any questions, we are almost done. We took exactly 1 hour for this meeting. Well, I don't see any questions so far. So then, thank you for your time. The recording of this conference will be available shortly in our WhatsApp group, in our email newsletter. So please pay attention to that. If you have any questions, you can ask any questions from our technical support team and our product team in our WhatsApp community. Maria, thank you for your time. Thank you for assisting me today. And it was a pleasure having you today. And once again, have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Please subscribe to our social networks, to our YouTube channel, LinkedIn page, and Facebook. We are always active, and stay tuned with our latest news there too.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Lev. Bye-bye all.
Bye-bye.